Let's go D-line now. This was an A-plus defensive line 2 years ago. Now I would call it a B-minus defensive line. Maybe that seems harsh. Nick Bosa is an A player, but what else do they have? I don't notice D Ford on the field anymore. He's healthy. He supposedly plays. I don't ever notice him. They brought in another guy this year, Samson Ebukam, who I haven't noticed either. Have you noticed him?
No.
No. They have Eric Armstead, who is a solid player, but he's not DeForest Buckner. And he has to be the second best pass rusher on this team because Ford's a ghost, Ebukam's a ghost. And Armstead, he's at best a fourth. If he's your fourth best pass rusher, you got a great D-line. If he's your third best, you got a good D-line. If he's your second best, you're a B-minus. Kinlaw's not a pass rusher, and he's injury prone. Uh-oh.
No, you're there.
Here? Okay. And DJ Jones, the nose tackle, is a solid. He's a good player, but he's a run defender. So it's a good defensive line. It should be a B, but D Ford's a ghost. Where are you? He needs to show up, otherwise it's a B-minus group.
Well, let me say this. First of all, I love your grade. Against the Packers, where was the pressure on the quarterback from these people?
All Niner fans wrote the Packers off just because of that. They're like, well, look at their offensive line. They can't block the Niners' defensive line. There's no more analysis necessary this week. And 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. Of course, what happened was right off the bat, the Niners couldn't stop the run. So the Packers had that going for them. They also got the lead right off the bat. And also, whenever the Niners tried to bring a safety down to stop the run, put 8 in the box, Rodgers saw it, got the ball, instantly threw deep, and would hit like a 30-yard throw or get a pass interference penalty in 2 seconds. So, I guess it wasn't the Niners. The Niners don't have a bad pass rush. That's what happened. But it's not as good as it was 2 years ago. It's just not.
They sure didn't get a pass rush against Rodgers with 37 seconds left to go.
Nope.
Might have been a good idea we'll talk about that later.
Nope. Yep. And another thing about this defensive line, it's not just 4 guys. They use basically 2 units. They like to come in waves, and they're supposed to have depth. The backup defensive lineman can't stop the run. Anytime Kinlaw and DJ Jones come off the field and Zach Kerr and Kentavious Street come on, it's like 8-yard run up the middle, 9-yard run up the middle. So that's part of the grade.
Okay.
Because you can't play the same 4 guys all game. You can't.
Iggy, having listened to what you said, I think because you're a very nice person, that B-minus is actually a generous grade.
Yeah. Most people would consider Nick Bosa a elite Pro Bowl level player. What else they got? Yeah. What else do they got? So, yeah, B-minus is the best you can say about this defensive line. Very overrated. And that's the biggest, one big difference between this team and the one that went to the Super Bowl. Also, the one that went to the Super Bowl had Raheem freaking Mostert. So running back was a big strength on that team. All right, moving on. Linebacker. B+. The last couple of years, this was an A. Dre Greenlaw's hurt. That's part of the grade. His replacement is Azeez Al-Shaair, he's solid. When they go to 3 linebackers, the third guy's Marcel Harris, who's okay. Fred Warner's interesting. The last 2 years, he was arguably the best linebacker in the league. This year, he's been just a shade not as good. And you wonder if it's because Salah's gone. I don't know what it is. But, on offense, the play caller can talk to the quarterback until there's 15 seconds left on the play clock. Then the radio communication shuts off. And some coaches are talking up until that minute. That last second. Sean McVay is one of those guys with Jared Goff, telling him everything he sees. Maybe Salah was like that with Warner. Because Warner has the earpiece in the headset too, and Salah's very smart. Not that Warner isn't, but what an advantage that would have been. And I wonder if the communication is a little bit different. Anyway, B+.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, and I feel that's a high grade. And what's interesting so far, Iggy, you've only given one A.
Yeah, tight end. Okay. Now I'm going to give another one, though. Safety, A-. Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt are really good. It took me a while to appreciate their games because they don't intercept the ball or force fumbles, but they're always taking the most difficult coverage assignments on running backs and tight ends, and they're really good at it. They usually don't give up big plays. They're usually players that quarterbacks avoid. So those 2 guys, Ward and Tartt, A-. They're not exactly all pro level players. It'd be nice if they could intercept 5-6 passes a year the way that Ronnie Lott or Merton Hanks did, but they're very good at what they do. A minus.
And Iggy, they're really tough guys.
They're really tough guys.
They'll make you
really
pay.
Tough guys. Yeah, absolutely. That's true.
They'll make you pay. I love your grade.
All right. Cornerbacks. D minus. I'm not going to give him an F. And I'm not trying to be nice.
You're struggling between D and F, right?
I'm going to give him the nicest possible grade and say D minus, which is not. Imagine getting a D minus and being like, okay, thanks, teacher. But Emmanuel Mosley's okay. He's not a bad cornerback. And Diamador Lenoir's okay. The issue isn't like that they're underperforming. It's that Mosley was undrafted. Lenoir's a 5th-round pick. They're good stories. They're solid players. And the fact that they're maybe starting caliber is a good story. But the Niners don't take this position seriously at all. They don't put serious resources into it in free agency. They don't spend much, and they don't spend high draft picks on it. And so they have a bunch of injuries. Their number one guy is a guy who played 2 seasons in like 6 years and missed a bunch of years of injury, and he got hurt, and they're like, oh, God, what are we going to do now?
Verrett, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you could say it's an F group, although they have some solid, good stories of young guys I didn't expect who can come in and contribute when the pass rush is good. But really, it's D minus at best.
And they have no depth.
No depth. No depth at all. So, like, they're in this position right now where they have a really good team, but Dante Johnson plays for it. He's a special teamer. He's about 30. They drafted him when Harbaugh was the coach, and he keeps coming back. And the idea is he's a special teams guy who's your last case scenario, your last resort at cornerback. But he's always playing. And at the end of the game against the Packers, who was the guy who blew the coverage on the final throw by Rodgers? Him. And I feel like just with him on the field, it's hard to win because everyone knows he shouldn't be out there, and they go after him right away, and there's nothing he can do about it. So as long as Dante Johnson is playing, and if he plays this weekend, we'll talk about that more in a minute, Niners are always going to have trouble stopping anyone.
Okay. Yeah. I love your grade. I think D minus is an absolutely fair and generous grade. I would like to make one little extra point.
Sure.
Iggy has been emphasizing cornerback since
the beginning
last season ended. Yes. So almost a year. Well, and
every year the Niners do, like I do mock drafts and stuff. The 1st-round pick in my mock drafts a cornerback. I've been talking about this for 10 years. The Niners have an organizational philosophy that it's the least important position on defense, and they got to get with the times. They got to.
So here's what I want to say. I give the group on the field a D minus, but I give the 49ers organization vis-a-vis cornerbacks an F.
Thank you. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. This was preventable, and this was like a train wreck you could see coming. And this is a culmination of 3-4 years of the wrong approach.
Yeah. So before we move on, I would like to point out that at 2 significant positions, cornerback and running back, the Niners are dreadful.
Yes. And running back, again, is highly dependent on blocking and scheme, and you can get guys. They should be able to figure that out. They should. They're not going to get someone like Raheem Mostert anytime soon, but they should be able to figure that out. Cornerback, good luck. Good luck. I mean, right now, the best they could do is call up Richard Sherman. And even him, he's probably about to sign with Tampa. So good luck, guys.
Yeah, yeah. And even that new guy, Norman, the poor guy he got hurt.
Yeah.
And he was bleeding, apparently bleeding from his lung or his chest. Yeah. So that poor guy will be out for a while. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
D minus. All right. Special teams. A. All of a sudden, Mitch Wishnowsky lands every punt at like the 6-yard line. Robbie Gould is very consistent. Extremely consistent. Not much of a ping pong player, but a good kicker. And then they finally found some good returners. This Trenton Cannon guy looked great. The 68-yard return. I can't remember the last time a Niners returner did that. And then Brandon Ayuk is averaging 11 yards per punt return for his career so far, which is exactly what you want. That was John Taylor. That was Tim Brown. They got it. They figured it out. Good special teams. They got 91 yards of returns against the Packers. That's 9 first downs. Good job.
Wonderful.
That helped.
Iggy, I would like you to get Robbie Gould in a Zoom interview.
Yeah.
But probably he won't do it because
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. I bet he would.
Then try. I mean, it could be a blast.